just got to see it. You just got to
Okay.
see it. You don't get it.
Okay.
Okay, we got Noah Auten here.
We have Noah Auten, who's taking a break from the kids right now.
Yeah.
New Bern Civic Theater has their Next Generation workshop. That is, it started last week, and this is the second week, and they have performances this weekend. And Noah is our director of the camp, and this year's
Who
theme.
is running the camp? We've got the director of the camp, and we''ve got the executive director here in the studio.
It's fine.
It's on fire.
It's
just
fine.
it's gone. It's dead.
And so this year's theme is the act of play, and I got to tell you, I'm so excited for this year's camp because it is literally taking me back to my childhood. I literally got to play on the set. Like a little kid, I got up on that stage and I got to swing, I got to climb.
Because the set is a playground.
It's literally a playground.
It's a jungle gym on our stage, and it's so much fun.
It's kind of based around, I had a couple thoughts about it, and like this quote I found, it had specifically, it said, a good director builds a playground for their actors to perform on. And it's, you know, I was like, well, take that the metaphorical way, or you could take it a more literal way and actually literally build a playground. So that's what I ended up doing, and, you know, and it's also this idea of like, you know, where do kids perform mostly? It's going to be like, you know, I remember when I was a kid, I'd be in the backyard, on the playground, whatever, you know, I'd be making up characters, I'd be improvising, I'd be doing stuff like that. I'd be reenacting things I saw from a movie, like that kind of thing. Like I have a very specific memory of like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie, and I would hide under a table and sing like some like sad, like, I miss my friend song as a kid, which is like the dumbest thing, but like it was something that really stuck with me of like being a kid and taking on personas. So I was like, that'll resonate with the kids and everything.
Right.
So.
And Noah, you have just graduated, and now this is your degree. I mean, this is what your career is, and so we're excited to have you do this workshop.
Well, take us back. Like, talk to us about like when you first got involved in theater as a young person.
Well, I actually first got involved in theater back for the theater camp when I was in 2005, when like Derek Jordan was an intern. Like it was like so long ago, and so I remember just learning like songs and stuff like that were really complicated. I remember we learned Putting on the Ritz or something like that, and like, you know, and thinking about like looking at that now, I mean, it's kind of a weird syncopation and everything, and I'm like, kids are able to do more than you expect of them.
Yes.
Like, and you always underestimate what kids are able to do, and we've tried to implement that this year with a lot of challenges and everything. But yeah, when I was a kid, I remember doing like, you know, doing scenes where you really were doing a lot of storytelling and doing a lot of creativity and improvising, and so that's what I remember doing with theater as a kid, and doing like, you know, Jungle Book and stuff like that, where you take on just an outrageous character and then playing around. So,
you know, we talk about, one of my pride and joys is the youth programs, and we have our children's shows that is in the spring, and then we have our children's workshop in the summer, and now we have the Sax Bradbury Players, and those three programs are so crucial, not just for entertainment purposes, but in developing our youth into these strong, independent, creative, critical thinkers, because I say this all the time, I'm not interested in making your child a star. I'm interested in creating future leaders. And this program with the summer workshop is, it's not just a place to drop off your kid for a couple of weeks and, oh, we're gonna have fun. But it really is developing some crucial skills of critical thinking, confidence, teamwork. I mean, you're working with kids, peers that are not the same age. I mean, we have our workshop from the ages of 8 to 15, and the way that this program is designed is these children are getting an introduction to the whole aspect of theater. They're stepping outside of their comfort zone. So, you know, they may not be, you know, the best singer, but they're challenging themselves to get out there and sing a solo, and it clicks with them, and they leave at the end of the day saying, I can't believe I just did that. So it's a confidence builder. But once they go through the workshop, we start to see these leaders, and we start to pick them out, and they become Sax Bradbury Players, and then they become, the Sax Bradbury Players then become the interns. And this is the other thing I want to talk to you about, because when we sat down to talk about what you were doing, I literally, throughout that whole meeting, was just, oh my gosh, I love what we do. I love what we do, because Noah Auten sat there and said to me, this year I'm going to direct the camp, but I'm going to direct the camp through my interns. So empowering our youth once again, giving that empowerment to the interns to direct.
It's exactly, and that's exactly
Love
what it is. It's and that's what I've done is we'll have each of them direct certain scenes. We have 2 scenes each for each intern, and what I'm providing for them is I stay with the stage, and so when they're up there, the hardest part is always blocking and making sure that it looks okay. So what I do is I provide perspective. I give them ideas and stuff. I mean, like there's different things where they'll be like, oh, I never thought to do this with a prop. I never thought to do this, you know, and so I like to give more of an experimental kind of feel to it, and being able to step out of it, I'm able to go, while they're directing, I can go run and get something for them and go be like, oh, I'll go get you this prop and we'll try this, we'll try this, we'll try this, we'll work and work and work. We rotate and I get a different person in there, and what we're able to do is be able to do this collaboration that's like, and it's such a nice intersection of unbridled talent, of just like raw youth, never, you know, I've done theater but haven't gone to school for it, and like me being like, I went to school for it, let me give you like my kind of information that I've learned through the years and everything. So it's really cool to have that perspective, and then I make up my time with the workshops, because I'll just stand there and talk for like 20 minutes. This last year I literally just went, this past like week I had a history workshop where I just said, name a place in the world and I'll tell you what I know about the history of theater there the best I can. And it was just like, it was so good for them, because then it was like, instead of me going and teaching like a very specific, boring lecture about like one specific thing, they were like, well, we want to know a little bit more about Shakespeare. And I'm like, here's what I can tell you about Shakespeare.
Oh, and
Here's-
Noah knows Shakespeare.
I do. And they'll be like, well, I want to know about Greek theater. I'm like, cool. And they're like, I want to know Japanese theater. I'm like, great. I mean, like, everything is so rich with history.
Right.
So, I mean, and so to be able to provide that, and also, you know, the life skills and the skills you need for theater and everything. We have a bunch of our kids who have difficult time communicating, which the way I just structured that, you might think I also have a difficult time communicating. But no, there's challenges with their communication skills, and so, which is prevalent in a lot of youth now. So it's good to have that be a place where they can become comfortable speaking, be comfortable singing, be comfortable being themselves. And that's the big thing. It's just
Having
to
an
be yourself.
idea
Yeah.
and not being judged for it. You grew up in the theater, starting out with the workshop. You were our Baloo in Jungle Book, and you directed Tarzan. It was your first directing, and then you went on to direct A Midsummer Night's Dream, because Noah Auten is the bomb when it comes to Shakespeare. And so you've gone through every aspect of New Bern Civic Theater. Talk to us about what it's done for you and how that journey has led you to where you are now.
I mean, there was stuff where I would go into stuff in college, and like I would have a shop class, and I'd be like, I know how to build that, I know how to do that, and so like it would just be like, come and
Show off.
come help. I wasn't a show off. I was the kind of person who was like, I would step up and be like, oh, well, I know how to drill those things and do that,
Right.
and you know, or it'd be moments where I would assistant direct, because I was in a directing class, and a lot of the things that like my ideas and stuff had come from other directors. You know, theater's like it's building up other people's ideas and,
Right.
and you know, creating something new out of something you've already learned, for the most part, you know. And so the creativity that I learned there, and just being surrounded by theater, I think has been the big thing of just, you know, my parents would tell me, because I'm you know, seeing them back in town and everything, and they're like, you know, it's just like the old days where you would just be at the theater all
the
day,
time.
and it's just like, and they're like, you never just have one project going on. And I'm like,
Right.
no, never just have one project. So,
Right.
and that's what's been good. New Pacific Theater also helped me how to do time management skills with that. You know, doing classes, doing work, doing theater all at the same time, doing multiple shows. So that's why, like, in college, if I got cast in a show and it was like just one show, I'd be like, well, I'll do workshops too, I'll do this too, I'll do these things. People are like, you're gonna get worn out, and I'm like, that's the goal.
Right.
Because I feel like when you're exhausted, you know, when you've kind of reached your limits, that's where you find new perspective and new creativity to find a way to come through the opposition. So
All right. So
Well, tell us about at the end of the 2 weeks here, there is going to be a showcase. It's not just for the parents and for the students, but it's open to the public. People can come and see it. Tell us about the theater showcase, which is coming up.
I'm so excited about this theater showcase
Me
this year.
too.
When pitching it to Angelina, I told her like the whole I told her the whole playground and stuff idea. I played the very last song,
I cried.
and she cried in her office just the thought of it. I was like,
I'm pretty sure, Noah, you were sitting across the table watching the little girl in me come out. I mean, because some of the selections of the showcase is just impeccable. I mean, you talked about doing a scene from The Sandlot,
Yep.
which is one of my favorites.
but see what we're doing. Like what I love about that too is that we're doing a scene from The Sandlot, but we're building it we're doing a song from Charlie Brown. We're doing the song Team, and the part where Charlie Brown is supposed to hit the ball, we have them hit the ball over the fence. And we start the scene into The Sandlot. And so
brilliant.
everything is like very seamless going in from one thing to the next. Some things are a little bit more of a stretch, but then that just adds a layer of comedy to it with the kids and stuff
Right.
like that. Like, and it adds so much to it. My favorite thing that I'm most excited about right now is the prologue, because we're doing the beginning of West Side Story, and we talked about how West Side Story is an adaptation of a Shakespeare piece and all the history behind it. But we're doing the prologue of it, and we're having it start on the playground and having like all the snaps that the Jets do be the jump rope hitting the ground, and each of like the beats being them hitting a beat on hitting the hopscotch, and the like when the strings stuff come in, it's like da na na na. It's the swings that are like keeping the rhythm of it, and then having them be able to dance with each other, and it still has like a Jerome Robbins-esque kind of dance feel to it, but also has kind of just kids on a playground being casual and like hanging out kind of idea.
Right.
And then it's just it's like really cool just for the opening of the show, because we usually start with like a big song, huge number and stuff like that, but it's like this like really soft beginning, and just gives it really brings you into the world of the play. And so
Right. Well, we're really excited, and like Keith was saying, this is the New Bern Civic Theater's Next Generation Workshop Showcase. However, it is open to the public. If you are looking for something fun to bring your kids to, come on down. It is June 23rd at 7 p.m.
Yes, 7 p.m.
And the 24th at 2 p.m. You can go to newberncivictheater.org to get more information, and tickets are $5 plus tax. I mean, it's just a great production, and our showcase kids have always done an outstanding job. But if you want to take a journey back to your childhood, this is one showcase you really, really want to see. Like I said, I could feel the little girl in me just coming out and reminiscing about all the play pretend that I did as a kid. And yes, I got it's very moving. The end is just, so brilliant.
We've had a few parents who've come and sit in on the very end of like our rehearsals, because they're coming to pick up and everything,
Right.
and they'll see us playing a game at the end of the day, and they're like, "Is this what you do all day? Because
Yep.
that sounds so fun. Like, can we
play?"
They're like, "Can you do an adult camp for
Right.
us? Like just 2 weeks of just doing this?" And I'm like, "It'll be fun."